Welcome to CAM Radio, an Ahead of the Curve initiative by Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, bringing you every Friday the latest in legal and policy. Stay tuned. Enjoy listening.
Hello and a very warm welcome to everyone. What is it truly like to be a biotech startup in India in 2024? India seems to be on the rise when it comes to entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology. But the thing is, innovation doesn't exist in a vacuum. It can be promptly copied and emulated, undercutting your framework. So, what is the patent system in India like to protect one startup? How can IP be not just a form of protection, but an asset for growth and market expansion? And what does it take for India to be a global leader in IP protection for businesses? To explore these questions and more, please help me welcome Gitika Suri, Director at CAM, specializing in patents, and also joining us on this beautiful discussion today is an external guest. Please help me welcome Vivek Mishra, who is the founder of Fibroheal Woundcare. Vivek and Gitika, it's my sheer pleasure and privilege to have both of you on the meaningful discussion on a Monday morning on CAM Radio. Given our external guest, Vivek, I would like to begin the conversation with you, just sort of getting started from what we were chatting before the actual recording on how incredible your journey has been. I really want to know about this entire idea behind silk protein. The everyday person may not really know much about it. What would you say were the pain points which you saw that you would address? And was there a certain breakthrough or discovery that made you confident? Yes, this is my click moment, and I have to get started from here. And this is really the opportunity that you want to cash on. Yes, Vivek.
Thank you, Sreja, and thank you, Gitika, for having me on your radio platform. And it's indeed a pleasure, to catch up on a Monday afternoon, lovely afternoon. So, coming to the point, when I started my journey and when I was a student, I always heard that biotechnology में तो बहुत scope है, which still I am hearing today. I ended up doing a pharmacy and then did my MBA and I went on into a regular job. While I was part of Tata Group, I was leading the rice seed business, hybrid rice seed business through one of their subsidiary companies. And while visiting a place called Dhamtari in Jharkhand, Dhamtari in Chhattisgarh, I heard about Tussar silk. And Tussar is something which is also called as hunted silk. It is grown on the tree. Mostly, it's on Arjuna tree. Arjuna leaves is what they. And that's when it intrigued me that what are the possibilities. And I came back. The year was around 2012-13. And finally, and people say that if something is there in destiny, you will keep coming across it. What happened is one of cardiothoracic surgeons from Indian Air Force, he introduced me to another gentleman who also happens to be my co-founder, Bharat Tandon. Bharat was working in the area of sericulture and silkworm farmers and others, and he was in his early 60s, you can say. So a mid-20s guy meeting early 60s guy, the relationship was unique. And finally, we thought that let's explore it. And the journey started. We started researching, we started reading various papers, going to Central Silk Board, CSRTI, and various areas. What we realized that there are hundreds of papers, there are few patents already granted globally as well as in Indian diaspora, but not a single product out in the market to heal wounds or in medical devices application. Although silk as a suture has been used. Now, the idea was, since I come from a very humble background, the idea was to create something which is impactful. And with that sole idea, we started researching in 2014, and finally we registered our startup on 6th April 2017. And that's how Fibroheal was born. The name Fibroheal is derived from the protein part of silk. Silk has two proteins. Outer layer is called sericin and inner layer is called fibroin. So we utilize fibroin to heal various types of wounds. That's when the name is derived and it is called as Fibroheal.
Thanks for that, Vivek, and very beautifully that you presented your case that Shrija, 20-year-old somebody with passion and light in his eyes, meeting a 60-year-old person, and a beautiful journey could have started. And you said that it took you a while to register your company. You were on a journey. Before I get Gitika in, I have to sort of understand from a founder and somebody who is a biotech founder going after a niche product, how much do you think it was a competitive advantage for you, your IP, which is your intellectual property, in making sure that your business has a competitive edge? And when you talk about IP, have you found your strategy to be more proactive, expanding the market, or more defensive, protecting your innovation? What really was the mindset?
Very good point, Srija. So I will tell you some very interesting insights. When we started, we had one patent. Today, six year down the line, we have 8 patents and one PCT which we are moving ahead. So when we started, we understood very little about the patents. What is patent? What are the strategy and other things? But now, as an R&D driven company focused on innovation, now we are more keen, more we understand, and we understand that how important it is both in terms of offensive as well as defensive strategy. Because once you have a patent, in general, the perceived value is that yes, this company is here to stay over a long period of time. Some scientific cutting edge part is involved. But when I started in 2017, the idea was अगर मैं patent लिया भी तो कोई ना कोई उसे side step कर लेगा. So that was the thought process. There has been a huge shift in my own thought process also in terms of getting your IP protection done. I will be very honest to you. I still have not sorted my strategy, full-fledged strategy. I don't have in place at the moment also. But yes, a lot of things are streamlined now. And importantly, Srija, also I want to highlight that we have been able to patent some of the methods of our silk protein in terms of what we derived in the formula. Even we are able to patent some of the methods in terms of how to create nanofibroin and those kind of things on the control on the material. So all those things have been very, very helpful. And I think now is the time when the way patent has evolved, that we would be more keen to have more number of patents, which will even help us to associate with the right partners to scale up and take the products or the new science what we have derived to the various parts of the world. So I think that is the way forward for us.
Thanks for that, Vivek. And Gitika, I would like to come to you. And Vivek has very candidly sort of outlined that, Shrija, when we started off on the patent journey, we had a lot of questions. We did not quite understand that. But he clearly understood that for IP protection, maybe he had a defensive approach in the beginning. But now he's extremely confident that maybe they began with one patent and he saw the usefulness, and now they have 8 patents. And now, as he talks about the further expansion of the company, this is the way forward. So, Gitika, when you meet up with these entrepreneurs who have so much passion and who are really coming as a product led entrepreneurs, what really are some of the key questions or perhaps the myths that they have in mind about going for the patent protection? How seriously do they pursue this? Do they really think it's important or critical for them or not?
Hi Shrija, hi Vivek. It's a pleasure to be connected here on Monday. And great thoughts, Vivek. Very interesting. Uh, and thank you, Shrija. To answer to your question, I love my profession for the very reason that I meet such enthusiastic entrepreneurs who are so enthusiastic about the research that they are doing and they want to protect it and to scale it to the next level. And our topmost priority is basically to help them to understand the patent law, to be not afraid of it but to take it through, and to be their companion in the journey of from becoming a startup to a full grown company which is a tech focused or a research focused company. Companies like Fibroheal, who are focusing on research, patent could be a strength to them, because it can not only cut the competition out, because for whatever you have a patent for, you can stop others, but it can also be like a defense tool, like you said, and others would be like reluctant in entering your area of research. To go to your question as to what are the questions we face, there are n number of questions in terms of what can be patented, what are the timelines, what are the benefits that we will have from the patent process, would we be able to afford the kind of fees that the patent registration process will have. So I'll take those up one by one, And primarily, I will basically focus on the kind of advantages the Startup India companies have under the Patents Act system. So the first and foremost advantage is that there is a reduced fees for startups. The fees is almost like less than half of what is there for the other multinationals and other companies, large groups. So that advantage is definitely there. Two, they have the process of filing for an expedited examination. And believe me, I have seen that under the expedited schemes, patents have been granted to startups in less than 9 months also. So that is a great, great, great advantage where other companies are being granted patents in 3 to 5 years. A startup may be granted a patent from 9 months to say, I will give an outer limit of 2 years or something. So that is these are the two main advantages that startups should take care of and should actually file a lot of patents for. The second advantage and second thing with regard to fees is also a great deal because it really reduces the cost. Going on to what are the difficulties they face in getting a patent. See, there are certain things which can't be granted a patent in India. Of course, your invention needs to be novel and inventive. But there are certain inventions which can't be granted a patent. Most of them are also being relating to life sciences because there is a section 3 of the act which specifically deals with what cannot be granted a patent. Inventions, which are just combinations, may not be showing some synergism. Inventions which are dealing with some kind of agriculture method, inventions which are dealing with diagnosis or with treatment, and inventions which are maybe claiming a part of an animal, inventions which are dealing with isolated forms of plants or animals, and various other aspects which cannot be granted a patent. But there are a lot of patents which are granted for, say, if not a diagnostic method, but a diagnostic apparatus or a diagnostic kit. There are patents which may be granted for a combination or composition which is synergistic, and there are, you can submit a lot of data to show synergism. There can be patents which are granted for variants of proteins if you show an enhanced effect in the protein. So there are a lot of ways by which a patent can be granted for a lot of biotechnology or life sciences related inventions. So we do guide a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders, a lot of company people as to what can be patented, what cannot be patented. And slowly and steadily, like Vivek said, maybe for when they're filing the first patent or the second patent, they don't realize what to submit, what not to submit, what to provide, what not to provide. But eventually, with the hand holding, by the eighth or the ninth patent, they are aware of what they are doing. They are aware of the overall system. They're also aware of the kind of inventions that can be patented. They know what to file. They focus their research on specific areas, and they're well aware of their portfolio and how to manage it properly.
Thanks for that, Gitika. And it was sort of very meaningfully outlined in terms of the introduction of patent and what does it really mean for the startup ecosystem, how important it is for them, what are the areas that they should look at, what really can be patented and not patented, and so on. Gitika, I have to ask you this in terms of this entire funding of the startup ecosystem, which has become so attractive for founders. There's a bit of a unicorn obsession that we are seeing both on the kind on the startup side and on the VC side. How
Right.
attractive a startup becomes if that has a patent? Do VCs also push for it in some conversations? Can you give us some clear and candid revelations here in this regard?
Yeah, so Shrija, I would say yes, definitely. The IP portfolio of a company not only helps in cutting the competition, like I explained in the last question, it also helps them in revenue models like licensing. If they have a technology which they feel can be licensed to a bigger company and who is ready to manufacture or sell the product. The third most important advantage that a startup can have from a good IP portfolio per se and also a patent portfolio is getting a good investment. investment can be without a good IP portfolio also. I'm not saying that that's the only way. But a good patent portfolio or a good IP portfolio gives the investor a kind of surety that the company is working on a unique subject or a unique subject matter which is profit worthy, and therefore they feel that there is advantage in investing in that company. And therefore I feel that a strong patent portfolio attracts investors as well.
Thanks for that, Gitika. But my counter argument to this would be that if I'm a startup and I'm growing so fast and technology is evolving at such a rapid pace, and like the way Vivek sort of outlined that Shrija, we began with one patent and now we have 8 in his product portfolio. So technology landscape, the regulatory landscape can change very, very quickly. How does one future proof its IP strategies? In 10 years' time, maybe the scientific and the regulatory landscape may look very different. So, if I, as an entrepreneur, how do I make sure I'm truly protected and that too for a very, very long term? Is that even possible?
I think it is possible. A lot of companies are doing it. It's just that you have to be aware of the kind of progress that is happening in the field and also in the patent landscape in the country and elsewhere in the world. And it is definitely possible. For instance, if you're filing a patent, especially for a startup, it's not a big deal to have the patent granted in 2 years or 3 years, and then they can start commercializing it or monetizing the benefits out of it. So it's things are really moving fast now, and I really see hope and ray of hope here because companies are making a lot of progress at a really early stage. So I do see the hope there, and like Vivek said, he may be taking each case as it comes as of now, but slowly and steadily he's working on a portfolio that will help him, to conquer not only the silk technology in India but also throughout the world.
Okay, Vivek, at this moment, I have to get you in. Any thoughts on whatever Gitika has outlined till now? And I think she has really cut the legalese out from there and has been very, very simple in terms of her communication to the startup fraternity at large. Any thoughts on that? And I really want to also understand from you, from your perspective, what really were your some of the on ground realities that you had to deal with when facing India's patent process head on? And were there certain challenges there that impacted your scale, how you secured funding? I want to get a viewpoint from you on whatever Gitika outlined basically.
Thank you, Srija. Some of the points which Gitika highlighted, I was able to, visualize my, few years back how things were transforming for us. I was able to visualize those things. And she's absolutely right when she said that within 9 months we are able to get the patents. I have been one of the beneficiaries under startup scheme where I have been granted a patent within 9 months. Now coming to, I will give you an unfiltered raw perspective. What was my patent understanding and how it had changed over a period of time. So when I started in 2017, 20, and the first 2, 3 years before COVID, I used to think that is it easy to understand the patent laws? My perspective was they are very cumbersome and very complicated and a waste of time. I'll be very honest to you and very candidly, this is what was my perspective. Second thoughts was, will it be possible for us to enforce something? This was, I'm talking about, someone who had just started up. And third, how much it will cost? Will it cost, it should not happen that we are not paying our people and, paying for patents. And fourth was, even looking at, what will be the kind of quality of the patent that I have a patent, whether it has covered us from all the perspective. But when I look back today, my perspective has changed. That what Gitika was also highlighting, that it helps in attracting a lot of investors. Investors have confidence that yes, if he's patented, he's having a range of patents. It means they are doing something worthy, something unique, something different with a longer period of life. Let's say 10 years, 20 years. That gives investors a lot of confidence. Apart from that, when we say that I have a unique product, it enhances the overall marketability. That way to say that even in India, there is something called as PAC item, means proprietary item. So once you have a patent, it helps. Apart from that, I'd say indicated that once you have IP, you can always find methods to out license, and there will be an additional source of revenue, which in India it has not been very popular, but we have seen it. And one of the cases, what we have done is jointly, we have developed a product called Fibroplug. And there, we are joint owners of the patent. So that way, there will be some, revenue in form of royalty, which will be paid to Indian Institute of Science. And put together, when I see the idea of starting Fibroheal was to, create something which has economic multiplier effect from something, which is locally produced. And when I see some of these patents are also drivers of economic growth. Today, when I see 2017, when we started, we hardly have two, three people. Today, we have more than 60, 70 people working for us directly. Now, some of the factors have been, patent have been helpful to us. And not only that, it also has helped us to form some of very close associations with some of the top institutes across the world, as well as some of major startups across the world, because of the patent profile, because they understand that we are working on science, we are IP protected, we have a future vision. So I completely agree with Gitika what she has highlighted, and definitely now I understand that patent is actually helpful if you are a deep tech driven company trying to create a difference and bring some value or something unique out to the market. So I endorse the points what she has indicated, Srija.
Thank you for that, Vivek, and such a lovely revelation from your end. That Shrija, when we started maybe on this journey, we thought it a waste of time, and how you have really, really outlined that now 2024, this has really become an integral tool of economic creation for you, how you are growing your organization. And that really is the moot point of this podcast. Gitika, if you had to communicate with startups, how does one really convince them, or how does then make them understand that you can't necessarily look at patent, it can't be relegated as something which is just technical stuff of IP protection. It really is a means to economic creation. Are you having more such conversations with startups, and how easy or difficult it is to make them understand the path and the progress to economic creation through the patent journey?
So, Shrija, to be very frank, everyone is different. There are people like Vivek who are well aware, of this thing from the beginning, and they feel the importance of the patent system, though they may realize after one patent or two patent, or they at least endorse the thought of protecting their IP from the very beginning. And you only have to convince them to say that this is a simple process, believe us. And we just have to do the hand holding, and then the process completely, and it can help you build on a strong research within the company, and have a strong IP to protect and back the research that is going on inside the company. There are others who do take time, and you basically have to explain them the positives, explain them the negatives of not protecting their IP, things that they realize, when people start copying them, and it's too late to prevent others from copying because they have not filed for a patent, or they haven't registered for their designs or anything like that. And because the most important and critical aspects of filing for a patent or design is that it should be novel, and at times your own product in the market can kill the novelty, and you will not be eligible for a patent or a design registration. So therefore, once they face those issues, and then they realize that it's important, to have the patent or design applications filed from the beginning, and protect your IP. So to each its own, I think, and slowly and steadily. But I have seen that people in India have started realizing the importance of Make in India and Startup India concepts, and they have started registering for patent filing, design filing, and that is one reason why we saw more than 1 lakh grants in the last financial year, which was reported by the government of India as well. So a lot of filing is happening from the Indian companies, which is a great, great, great deal, I would say.
Thanks for that. 1 lakh grants. I mean, that is outstanding. That sort of really shows the kind of significant progress that perhaps we have made on this count. And Vivek, it might just sound much more convincing when it comes from you, the entrepreneurial perspective. So let me sort of just really hit the nail on the head here and ask you a hypothetical question. What would have happened had you not patented your products all this while? What do you think would happen the trajectory of your organization?
So Srija, frankly speaking, today, 6, 7 years down the line, probably now hardly one or two players are coming into the space in India. If it would not have been patented and say 2020, 2021, if you would have seen success, maybe 2 dozen companies would have been there. Someone making in Gujarat, someone is making in Patna, someone making in Raipur, someone making in Ludhiana, and the product, even without the merit, even without the quality, would have been there flooded in the marketplace. At least with patent, people fear a little bit of enforcement. There will be enforcement, there will be action, and that's where we see that somehow people only who have done some actual on ground innovation are taking the steps to come into this space. So that is one part. If I would not have taken it, probably I would be fighting various battles in terms of fighting it out. This is not the method. This is not the our product. This is not a genuine Fibroheal product. This is someone else copying us and putting it into the market. So those challenges I see that and most of our energy would have drained into to a firefighting rather thinking about innovation, bringing new technologies, bringing new ideas, and ultimately leading to contributing to the growth and for solving genuine problems. So I feel it's important. It was a good step forward that looking at things retrospectively that we patented our products, because not only it gives you a piece of a peace of mind, but also in terms of your own confidence enhances drastically once you have half a dozen patents backing you. So I feel things would have been very different, and we took the right decision by ensuring that things are patented, things are IP protected, and I mean, if you ask me, I would recommend this to every entrepreneur who is into tech space, that whatever possibility, even if it's a small IP, don't miss it. Try to acquire it even at little additional cost. That is what I feel if that way, Srijan.
Thanks for that, Vivek. And I think when it comes from you, it sounds very, very convincing. And the way you said that Shrija, had the patent not been there, the kind of competition you would have suffered, and basically you would have been just in battles. And a lot of your energy and time and money would have just gone in there. Gitika, I have to get you in. You sort of really spoke about the kind of response that we have seen in the startup mission, 1,000 grants. So, according to the Global IP Index in 024, India ranked 42 out of 55. What would you say are the on ground realities that basically means that a lot needs to be done? A lot of creases need to be ironed, especially for tech and biotech startups in India.
So I would say on ground reality, yes, there is a lot of improvement. A lot of patents are being filed, a lot of patents are being granted. IP generally is seeing a lot of high in terms of patent, trademark, design, and overall IP registrations are on a big time high. Um, there are a lot of IP divisions in courts that have been established, be it the Delhi High Court, Calcutta has also now started, Chennai, and because of which a lot of IP cases are being disposed of very fast, and we are seeing that progress in that front as well. But of course, I believe that a lot of improvement still needs to be maintained. This should not be the end of all, but a starting. We should now focus more on the quality of patents being granted as well. We should now focus more on disposing of a lot of oppositions and revocations which are being filed, so that applications don't get stuck because of this, and a lot of revenue of big and small companies is not wasted in these kind of procedural things, and true and worthy inventions should be granted or maintained as soon as possible. And of course, a lot of further improvement in terms of ease in filing, ease in searching of patent applications. All these efforts are being made and should continue to be made, so that we have a really, really, really clean and smooth process for startups like Fibroheal and others, so that they are encouraged to file applications, they are encouraged to innovate and help the economy of the country grow further.
Thanks for that, Gitika. I have a question for both of you, Vivek and Gitika. In a startup's journey, and there are a lot of challenges now that we have an entrepreneur with us, a lot of mental kind of challenges an entrepreneur has to go through. It is not really easy to be an entrepreneur in the day and age of 2024. One thing is that I have raised funding. I'm trying to raise funding. I have to patent myself. in the importance of my workflow areas, A, B, C, how important would you rate the patent process? And in terms of, because it could be a long drawn process, like you said, it's 9 months, there could be gray areas in the process. What I assume novel might not necessarily be so novel. So if I would really decide my priorities and the growth journey of my organization, how critical should I allocate patenting in the business plan process itself? How early should the mindset of patent come in the life cycle of an entrepreneur? Vivek, I could begin with you and then get to Gitika.
So, Srija, I think that's an important perspective. Of course, you have to bother about regulatory approvals, you have to bother about funding, you have to bother about team building, you have to bother about putting systems and processes, and also keeping individual egos, managing the board, shareholders, everything aside. But patent plays a key role. And not to forget, once you are doing something related to R&D, patents should become part of R&D group instead of operating as a through someone who may not know the innovation. So the best thing is to attach it to R&D and let R&D come up with various solutions, even if it's a say process patent related to the way you make it. But if it is coming from R&D, it gets the focus, because whatever said and done as a startup, the most candid and focused discussions happens with the R&D group. So that way, this is purely my personal perspective based on the experiences, that if it lies with the R&D, and then R&D ensures that things move in right direction. Apart from that, there are some more things which I'm sharing with you because it's a very open conversation. There should be, we at Fibroheal we also have a soft think each year at least one patent should be out from the lab. So that's a kind of, not a hardcore KPI, but that's a desired KPI what we had, kept for our group. And this leads to various associations and leading to patent coming out of our lab, because last 6 years, 8 patents. So you can understand that yes, we have been on it. So we are not aiming at 5 patents per year, but we are aiming at least one patent a year. So that way, I think startups, or as a founder, you need to allocate some time. You need to find a way to review it at least fortnightly, and be on it, because at the end of the day, when you speak to any outsider, frankly speaking, in building a company, each department are interconnected. It's not that it's patent, it's not that it's science, it's not that it's sales and revenues only. It's a what do we say, intertwining of all these things together, which create the value for the shareholders, stakeholders, and the people who gets a benefit out of it. So I feel this should be brought into the system early from a startup founder perspective. And if it is related and associated with some of the closest group, which is mostly R&D and deep tech companies, which is they focus on, the things can move really fast. And keeping targets like how we have kept it, at least 1 or 2 patents per year, that may be something which can be achievable, and can also give a lot of thrust to this space of patenting IP, and help the startup as the founder in long run.
Thanks for that, Vivek. And I must say that you are really speaking from heart, and all your insights are so meaningful and candid at the same time, and very, very helpful for entrepreneurs. Very sort of complementing to the point which Gitika is trying to really drive home. So it's really been a great partnership. Gitika, to sort of whatever Vivek outlined from his personal journey, and very, very rightly so, that patenting should really sit in the R&D department, and it's not that it's one department versus the other, but how it is very, very critical. It becomes a critical tool for economic creation, for expansion, and also for churning out innovation at a consistent speed in the organization. So every year there's actually a patent churning is a key KPI on how they're building out their organization. Gitika, what according to you could be the gray areas in the patent process which founders should also be aware of?
Gray areas out at the outset, Shrija, I would just add to what Vivek just said, and I would just say, "Kal kare so aaj kare so ab." So basically, and out of all the 100 things that are on the mind of a founder, I know that IP and patent may take a back seat. But I would say that keep that as the first priority, and keep that on your list always. And you have some kind of agenda or some kind of KPI it always helps. You may not have a very unrealistic figure, but please have a figure or a target for your company and yourself and your R&D team, so that you try to achieve it, not only for your company but the overall growth of the economy and innovation in India. Coming to your question as to what are the gray areas, see, there could be certain things which cannot be patented, and you may need to get your specification and your innovation reviewed by a patent attorney to be sure as to, if you can file a patent for a specific thing or you cannot file. No point in investing in a technology which cannot be patented. But there are a lot of things that can be patented. There are a lot of things, for which you may need certain additional data, certain additional aspects can be added to the specification for a patent to be granted. And of course, you can take the help of a specific patent attorney, patent drafter for this specific aspect. There can also be some slight delay in grant of a registration, but things can be worked out. Things have really been really fast, and they can further be improved. We have seen, like I told, that we have seen grants happening in 9 months, 1 year. If there are oppositions, there could be some delay, but all of that can be taken care of. There is no negative I see in getting into this process. You just have to swim through it.
You just have to swim through it. But that is the final word sort of coming out, that it has to be taken as priority. And if you want to do it tomorrow, day after, might as well do it today. Okay, so Vivek, now there's an offbeat question, or we have kind of formally ended the technical aspects and the core of the conversation on the softer part. Vivek, if you were to sort of tell us the highest point of your entrepreneurial journey till now and the lowest point, what would that really be, quickly?
Difficult to say. I mean, that's a question, which I don't have a direct answer. But frankly speaking, the first time we felt that company is on the verge of close down, it was in the year 2018, and when we had hardly 3, 4 employees. That was one of the lowest points, in this journey. And highest, when we say, uh, I mean, every day it's like, mix of emotion. I will tell you, in my life, it happens that every day sometimes you feel you are winning the world. Sometimes you feel that you are the most useless person, not doing anything. So that happens on an everyday basis. But highest point, I think it is yet to arrive.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow,
sad.
Vivek, I think it's like really you're killing it as an entrepreneurial revelation here. Gitika, if I were to ask you, and sort of very, very beautifully, you pointed out the pros and the cons and the realities and the challenges. What really is an ideal world that if you would like to see in terms of innovation and tech coming out of this country? Is there any global benchmark that you're very, very overawed with? What is it that we can really do to really ratchet up the innovation sort of potential for this country?
So I would say that till date, whenever somebody has to look for a patent, they will say, "Is there a similar patent in US or Europe?" So those are basically considered one of the major jurisdictions, where a lot of filing is taking place. A lot of quality patents are also seen, including others like Japan and Korea. And it's great to see that now India is being, considered at the same benchmark, if not, at least not same, at least in the same category of countries. So I would want that, India to top the list and have the best quantity and quality of patents throughout the world.
Wow. And Vivek, if you were to name one biotech entrepreneur besides yours, which you completely admire, who would that be?
From Indian or from global perspective, Srija?
Both. You can give me two.
So, one guy, whom I actually admire a lot in terms of global perspective, from global perspective, and particularly from this thing, is a guy called Greg Altman, who is based in US, and he has done a lot of work around it. In India, it's unanimous. Our great friend Kiran Majumdar Shah, the way
Okay.
she has done it is commendable. And being a lady, being in odd circumstances, and having personally met her also a few times, because she's also based in Bangalore, the way she has created a biotech oriented company, and And even today, she churns out a lot of innovation. So from Indian perspective, it is Kiran Majumdar. Globally, I appreciate not so popular name, but it is Greg Altman.
Okay, Gitika, I have the same question for you. Given you are like really dealing with patenting left, right, and center, if you were to give me two names, or on the sense of the biotech technology or the tech technology at large, who are really pushing the envelope forward in a big way, who would that be?
I would not take any name. I have been working with so many of them that I don't want to dishearten anybody or take any names. So yeah, as of now, let me just appreciate Vivek, and he's been doing some great work. And there are a lot of what I'm really happy about is like seeing a lot of biotech companies in India and overseas uh, taking the leap of faith and doing a lot of research. It's just great to see, and I really feel very happy.
I think we all spoke about opportunities, but this amazing discussion can't end without talking about challenges. So, Vivek, one key challenge as you are growing out your company, and then Gitika, one key challenge as you are growing out your practice. So, yeah, Vivek, I'll start with you, then get to Gitika.
Yeah. So even today, the biggest challenge what I face is bringing and aligning everyone to a common goal. Because if I simply ask a question, कि भाई इसे patent कराना है, so there everyone will have a different perspective, and everyone will try to convince me ये क्यों patent नहीं हो सकता है. Only to realize that someone gets it done 1.5, 2 year down the line. So even today, what I feel that the biggest challenge is even with regulatory funding, patent perspective, market, sales growth, it's aligning everyone to a common goal for the bigger cause and ensuring that yes, there is a lot of possibilities and there is a very bright future together. So I think that is a challenge which even I face today. Many of those things, I think it's an evolving challenge which everyone faces, but aligning everyone to a common goal and handling people as human beings have been the two challenges, which I have addressed also, and still it remains one of the biggest challenges. Gitika.
Okay. Gitika, what about you?
So I think where Vivek was in 2016, a lot of people are there still today, and that is the biggest challenge that we face today to convince people to focus on IP and to set that as the one of the most top goals of the company is the biggest challenge.
Thank you, Gitika and Vivek, for joining in, and thank you for sharing your insight, which I must say were very real, very candid, and a lot of revelations came through in the conversation today. And I'm sure it will be very meaningful to the Cam Radio listeners, and especially entrepreneurial fraternity at large, who would try to take down notes on what really are the pros and the cons of patenting, how patenting can be an integral part of their economic creation as they go on their startup journey. And till the time I see you next, goodbye and good luck. And thank you for your time and energy on Cam Radio today.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Shrija. Thank you, Vivek.
Thank
It's
you,
a
Srija.
pleasure.
Thank you, Gitika.